Let's do this. We have Mr. Ed Schultz, and let's welcome him up to the stage for a greeting. Let's chant him up here. Be with me here. We got Ed. We got Ed. We got Ed. We got Ed. Ed Schultz. Ed.
Sir. Thanks, everybody. That's right. I represent those guys that take a shower after work. You need a shower, I can tell. Let's not sugarcoat this. This is about American jobs. This is about saving our economy. This is about our politicians in Washington standing up and protecting you workers and the great work you do. It all starts right here with the iron ore. And it goes from here to Lorain, Ohio, to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, down to Texas. Jobs are on the line. This is your time to be vocal and to stand up for who you are, your family, your communities, and don't back down. This is not about Republican. It's not about Democrat. It's not about liberal and conservative. It's about America, and it's about saving jobs. That's what this is about. Our focus on our show is to tell your story. Tonight and tomorrow night, we'll focus right back in on what your fight is. I don't know how you feel about Korean steel, but I'll tell you straight up, it's cheap shit is what it is. And our Commerce Department has to stand up and put a tariff on them because they're putting a tariff on you and your security and your job, and that's wrong. So keep up the fight. Don't back down. God bless the Iron Range, and let's keep on going.
Ed Schultz, thank you. Now it's my pleasure to present the Gilbert VFW Color Guard. And I would ask that if you're wearing a hat, please remove your cap right now. Thank you. And after the Color Guard comes up, we will have the national anthem that will be sung by Brianna Curry, a very accomplished local high school student from Eveleth Gilbert High School. She's been singing and dancing since age 3, and she's going to be traveling in Europe with the Minnesota Musical Ambassadors this summer. So, and I'll ask the Color Guard to present their arms now.
Color Guard, cut, forward, march. Post the colors. Present arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, we're still gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave on the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Brianna. please remain uncapped, and I'm honored to bring up to the stage Alex Ranta, who is a Boy Scout with Troop 129 in Britt, Virginia, to conduct the Pledge of Allegiance.
Everybody please place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Yes, thank you to the VFW, the Gilbert Post, the Color Guard. And now we will be welcomed by an interfaith blessing from Father Charles Flynn from the Resurrection and St. Joseph's parishes in Eveleth and Gilbert, Minnesota.
North Country Blues, Bob Dylan, 1963 at the Newport Folk Festival. So the mining gates locked and the red iron rotted, and the room smelted heavy from drinking, where the sad silent song made the hour twice as long. The stores, one by one, they're a-foldin'. My children will go as soon as they grow. Well, there ain't nothing here now to hold them. In the 50 years since Dylan's observations, our jobs and communities have continued to dwindle. Our textile jobs have gone across the pond. What few jobs left are under attack. Therefore, we should bow our heads in prayer. Lord, it has always been a struggle. Please ease our hearts in these times of uncertainty. Protect us from those who seek not to build up, but to tear down. In the midst of job loss, of population loss, move us from fear to trust, from inaction to standing up for our way of life. Please reassure us that these are not the end days, that our way of life will continue. Sustain our families with blessed employment. This we ask through the Creator of earthly resources, who invites us to embrace work as his great gift to us. Amen.
Thank you, Father. And thank all of you. My name's Scott Paul. I'm the president of the Alliance for American Manufacturing. It is my distinct honor to be your MC for today. I have a question for you, and I want to hear it loud. Any steel workers in the house? All right, raise your signs and do that again. Any steel workers in the house? Any folks who dig for a living in the house? All right, okay. We are going to have a welcome, but first I wanted you to do something. How many folks here have a cell phone? Yeah, probably all of you. Okay, get it out right now. Get it out. Want you to do a favor for me. If you text to the number 91990, it's not going to get you in any trouble, by the way. 91990, text the message STEEL, S-T-E-E-L. That's the message STEEL to 91990. Your voice will be heard in Washington, D.C., and we'll make sure, as Ed Schultz said, that we're using American Pipe and Tube, and we're using your ore to build out our energy infrastructure. One more time, the number's 91990, 91990. Text the message STEEL to it, S-T-E-E-L. Raise your sign once you've done that. Raise your sign once you've done that. All right. All right. Thank you all. It is now my pleasure to present a welcome message from the Mayor of Virginia, Louis Russo, who is accompanied by Mountain Iron Mayor Gary Skalko.
Wow, what a crowd. Thanks for coming, and you're welcome to the city of Virginia. just to show you what happened, the pastor said about the losing of the jobs. Virginia, Minnesota in 1910 was the 5th largest city in Minnesota. I don't know where we are now. But anyway, I wrote my speech down right here. Thank you for coming, and I want to introduce my neighbor here, Jerry Skelko, the mayor of Mountain Iron.
Thank you. I know the city of Mountain Iron, the home of Mintech, supports this 100%. You know, I was not a miner myself. I spent 34 years as a teacher, but I grew up in a family of miners. My dad, Matt, worked 38 years at U.S. Steel, and I know, and we all know, the importance the iron ore industry has to us. It's crucial, and we back this 100%. And there's anything we can do, we realize the importance of this, and we're with you, and Godspeed. We'll get this through. So thank you so much. Take care.
Let's get those signs in the air. Let's go. All right. All right. Who likes to chant? Who likes to chant? All right. Here we go. I'm going to say, mine it here, and you're going to say, make it here. You guys with me? I say, mine it here. You guys say, make it here. Let's go. Mine it here. Mine it here. Mine it here. Mine it here. One more time. Mine it here. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. It is my pleasure to now welcome to the stage a couple of distinguished state senators who represent you very well here from the range and who look after your interests down in the state capitol. Please welcome your state senators Dave Tomasoni and Tom Bach.
What a great turnout. Thanks for coming, everybody. This is your jobs. This is all about the mining on the Iron Range. This is all about steel. And this has happened before. This has happened before because we were all here when we had something called Stand Up for Steel. I still have a red, white, and blue cap that says Stand Up for Steel on it. That happened. We have ebbs and flows in this mining industry all the time. And when the steel industry gets a hiccup, the Iron Range gets the flu. Well, this isn't the hiccup, folks. This is way worse than a hiccup, and this has huge implications for our U.S. steel mills and for our iron mines. You know, the Koreans, they don't care if steel is dumped, but the Commerce Department should definitely care, and they should stop them from dumping steel right now. Let's be the ones to call the shots. Let's not let the Koreans call the shots. Let's be in charge here. You know, Representative Carly Moline isn't here today because she just had a baby boy yesterday. So that's a pretty legitimate excuse for not being here. But she wants everybody here to know that she wants her kid to be able to work in the mines when he turns 18 or 20 or 22 or whenever it is, and she wants these jobs to be around for a long time to come so that her kid and maybe even her grandkids can work in the mines, because this is our industry. You know, last night I was sitting with my 9-year-old granddaughter, and I asked her, what do you think I should say at this rally tomorrow? And now, I don't normally get my advice from 9-year-olds, but this one, out of the mouths of babes, she said, it's illegal to be dumping because it results in American workers being laid off. Now that's, if a 9-year-old can figure that out, you would think the Commerce Department can figure that out and make a decision to not let the Koreans dump any more steel in this country. You know, we are on the cusp of becoming oil independent. We're on the cusp of becoming oil independent because we have oil being drilled and shipped out of North Dakota and out of Canada, and we need the pipes, and we need the pipes to be safe pipes, we need to be highest quality pipes, and we need the pipes to be made in the USA because we know where they came from. So the laws are in place, the evidence is obvious. Let's be the ones to be calling the shots. Let's call on the Commerce Department to make sure that they decide in favor of the United States and against the Korean pipes, and decide in favor of your jobs and in favor of jobs of steelworkers all across the country. Thank you very much.
Iron ore mining started in my district, Sedan, Minnesota, in 1881. And I can remember my dad, when he grew up during the Depression, one of his neighbors had a job in the underground mine. And I can remember my dad saying how fortunate that family was that they worked at the mine and they had money to take care of their family during a very dark time in this country. Iron ore mining has been the lifeblood of 4 generations on the Iron Range, and it can be the lifeblood of 4 more. We have the most productive workforce in the world, but we need a level playing field to compete on. We raise our voices today not just for steelworkers, but for all of our communities who are so dependent. All the vendors in a couple hundred cities, thousands of vendors across Minnesota that do work in the mines that are absolutely critical to those communities. Unfair trade practices threaten the finishing end operations in towns like a long ways away, towns like Cleveland and Pittsburgh, Longview, Texas, Birmingham, Indiana Harbor. And when those communities lose steelmaking capacity, the Iron Range goes on life support. So it's absolutely critical that we stand together as miners, steel workers, as neighbors, and stand up for this industry not only here, but in all of those other communities. And finally, President Obama is coming to Minnesota on Thursday. Coming to Minnesota to talk about the fact that we should raise the minimum wage. President Obama, the Minnesota legislature has already done that. Let's not look back. Let's look forward. President Obama, when you get back to Washington, D.C., sit down with the Department of Commerce and put tariffs on South Korean steel.
That is some good advice for POTUS, I would say. All right. Here's another chant that we're going to get worked up. But first, we've done 6 of these rallies, and we have never had a well, that was good timing, wasn't it? There we go. All right. I think we got it. We have never had a flag fall, and we've never had this many people before. So we have about 1,500 folks here, which means come this way so we can get more folks into the rally. This isn't like a cow pen. You're going to love your neighbor here. Come on in. Come on in. Yeah. Come on in. Yeah, get more of your friends and neighbors in here. We got a huge crowd. Step on up. Don't be shy. All right, we got a new chant for you, too. I say, gotta do something, and you say, stop that dumping. And we need to say it loud enough that the president can hear us all the way in Washington, D.C. So here we go. I say, gotta do something, you say, stop that dumping. Gotta do something! Gotta do something! Gotta do something! Gotta do something. They can't hear you. Let's go. Gotta do something. Gotta do something. Gotta do something. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's my honor to introduce to you the management and the labor management behind the great minds up here in Minnesota and some of their representatives. These are the folks who represent you, who represent the companies that bring the ore out of the earth that eventually goes to those mills that the state senators talked about. And look, we've already seen layoffs. We've seen plants close in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, indefinitely idled, that makes pipe and tube. In Belleville, Texas, that threads that pipe and tube. Some layoffs in Lorain, and you know that trickles back. So we got to stop it. And I know that the U.S. Steel and the steelworkers are dedicated to making that happen. So please give a warm welcome to Larry Sutherland, General Manager, U.S. Steel, up here. Emil Ramirez, the District 11 Director. John Rebrovich, the District Director for the Iron Ore Alliance, and some of the local steelworker presidents. Let's give it up. Let's give it up. Give the sides up. Nice to see the crowd here today. Believe me, we need the support in our industry. Thank you for your kind introduction, Scott. And I want to thank Governor Dayton and all our politicians who fully support our iron mining industry here in northern Minnesota, and we do appreciate that. I want to thank all our distinguished guests who have come here today to voice how critical it is that we have a fair trade in our country and in our steel industry that supports our industry, United States Steel Corporation, our Minnesota ore operations, and all of our jobs. We appreciate that support. Our iron mining facilities up here produce 22 million tons for U.S. Steel. These iron ore pellets are used directly in the manufacture of steel products at our steelmaking facilities across the United States. Our workforces can compete with anyone in the world on a fair playing field. And we just want to be given the chance to do that, and we'll do that with this workforce right here today and the people we employ. Our people and the iron ore pellets we produce is the first step in that steelmaking critical process. We just need to be given a chance to employ our people to produce the high quality, world-class, American-made products for our own markets here. That's the chance we need to be given, and to continue to do that in the future, not fight these fights every year with foreign, unfairly dumped products on our markets. We can't compete against that. That's been proven in the past with the shutdown of many facilities, and we don't want to go there again with this workforce. So I thank you for your participation, because the steel products we produce are the backbone of our energy infrastructure in this country and our national security of our own country here that we live in, work in, and play in. So thank you for your support, and I want to thank the Iron Ore Alliance and all the people that help us also with our jobs and the steel we produce and the support that they give us. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to all the retirees, steelworker retirees, and other retirees that are here today. Thank you so much. On behalf of President Gerard, we want to say thank you and thank you for helping protect these jobs. We faced the same crisis in 2008 when the Chinese dumped oil country tubular goods into this country. We saw the layoffs then. We got some corrections at the time, and now we have South Korea and 8 other countries that are attempting to do it again. I say it's time that we let the administration know that these are critical jobs, not only here on the Iron Range, but throughout this country,
that we're tired of our jobs being shipped somewhere else. The steelworkers, we represent over 3,000 members here on the Iron Range, just tied to steel. And that's important for us to continue to have those jobs, those good paying jobs here in this part of the state. As you heard earlier, over 250 jobs at other U.S. steel facilities were idle because of this unfair trade that's going on. I know that in the state of Minnesota, last year, these steel companies paid in over $60 million of taxes to the state of Minnesota. And that's what these good jobs do. They not only support the people here on the Iron Range, but they also support other people in the state of Minnesota. And we want to continue to do that. And lastly, as we celebrate 130 years of mining in Minnesota, I'm saying that we need to make damn sure that we're continuing to doing this so that we have another 130 years of mining in this part of the state. Thank you very much. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Are we having fun? Before I get into it, I want to just take a walk down memory lane. I know there's members of the press and younger folks here that maybe don't hear what happened 12, 14 years ago. 1998, we see imports coming in by the hundreds of tons, dumping on our shores, government subsidized, cheating. Year 2000, LTV mining shut down permanently. How many remember that? How many remember how the retirees suffered? The people suffered, families, community. EVTAC, just up the hill a year later, bankrupt. Keetac in Keewatin, 2003, bankrupt. We got another company just south of Minnesota, GST Steel, bankrupt because of iron ore imports. Thousands have lost their jobs. Sisters and brothers, we on the Iron Range know that when we get knocked down, especially by people that are cheating, we don't take that. What do? We stand up and fight back. Repeat after me. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Greetings, brothers and sisters and members of the community. We're having this rally for a number of reasons. To let everyone know what's going on in our industry and to send Washington, D.C. a message, just to name a few. It seems these days you cannot pick up a newspaper, turn on your radio or your TV, and something or someone is trying to jeopardize our industry. If it isn't the Chinese trying to hack into our computers to steal our trade secrets, it's some country like South Korea trying to dump their cheap subsidized pipe and shut down our mills. We didn't come here today looking for a handout or a subsidy or a bailout. The only thing we need is an equal playing field in a world market. When everything is equal, we've showed time and time again, the American worker is the hardest working and most efficient in the world today. We're steel workers. We're rangers. That's what we do, and we're famous for it. We ain't afraid of a fight. We want our politicians in Washington to know we are not going away. We're not going to roll over. We will not go quietly into the night. We will not let you destroy our jobs, our families, our community, or our businesses. We demand nothing less of our elected officials than to do your jobs and enforce our trade laws. Hear us loud and clear. We will not sit back and let you turn the domestic steel industry into Walmart. So do your jobs, Washington, D.C., or when the next election rolls around, you're the ones who's going to be looking for work.
you heard it. Let's give him a round of applause by doing some chants too. Mine it here, make it here. 1, 2, 3. Mine it here, make it here. 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 Thank you. Thank you. All right. We're honored to have a lot of public officials who have stepped up to the plate for us over the last 3 months that we've been working on this, and I'll read some excerpts from letters in a little bit that Senator Klobuchar sent, that Senator Franken sent, and that Congressman Nolan sent, and their schedules in Washington, D.C. didn't make it possible for them to get here, and I'll be doing that in a little bit. But we've also had governors step up to the plate all over the country as well, and give us that needed support and make sure that your voices are heard in Washington, D.C. And your governor from Minnesota is one of those folks, Mark Dayton. And so I would like you to give a huge Iron Range welcome, and let's give him a chant to get him up here. Join me in saying, "We love the Gov." Okay, 1, 2, 3. We love the Gov. 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 We love the Gov.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow, what a great gathering here today. You know, I did a little research yesterday, and the history of the Iron Range, as you know, is the repeating story of people standing strong against exploitation and oppression, and too often of a government that will not stand with them. According to the Historical Society, the Minnesota Iron Company brought its first workers to the Vermilion Range in 1882. Its rules stated that employees were to assume all risks for death or injury while engaged in mining-related work. The company also clearly stated its position about labor unions. No person belonging to any union to control wages or services will be employed, and any employee entering such union will be discharged promptly and will forfeit all money earned by him at the time of such discharge. Minnesota Iron's alternative was to headquarter a physician and build a saloon in the new town of Tower. One company official wrote in 1883, "With a doctor and a saloon in Tower, there'll be no reason why men should ask for higher wages than any other place." When the first mining companies couldn't fool their immigrant workers, they fought them, especially when those workers sought to improve their wages or working conditions. The first strike on the Mesabi Range occurred in 1893. The first fatality followed a year later, when over 1,000 men refused to work after their demands for higher pay were rejected. And they were all men back then. A Finnish striker named Sam Masson was shot and killed by a deputy marshal. Governor Knut Nelson called out the National Guard, which protected the marshal, while a hastily called coroner's jury ruled the murder a justifiable homicide. And the marshal skipped town. That is the history of the Iron Range. That is the legacy left you by the courageous men and women who fought for their rights and died for justice for all. That fight continues. Today's enemies are not the companies, it's the countries who dump their steel on the U.S. market, depress your prices, and take away your jobs. This is not a new fight. I remember when I first ran for the Senate in 1982. Congressman Jim Oberstar opposed the free trade policies of the Reagan administration
while Minnesota's 2 Republican senators did nothing to protect the jobs on the Iron Range. I remember when Butler Taconite closed its doors in 1985. I traveled to Nashwauk High School with my boss, Governor Rudy Perpich, as his Commissioner of Economic Development. I'll never forget walking into the school gymnasium filled with some 500 steelworkers and their families, all hoping against hope that someone had a miracle to save their jobs. And that awful, horrible feeling that we had no miracle. 17 years later, as a United States Senator, I traveled to White Lakes with Minnesota's other senator, the great Paul Wellstone, where we saw the devastation caused again by another plant closing, this time LTV. Yet despite our opposition, the U.S. government's free trade policies continued, even as more American jobs shifted overseas to non-union, low-wage countries with higher profits for those who abandoned Minnesotans and other Americans. Now the demand for steel is increasing. Now is the time to increase production here on the Iron Range and create more jobs. But what does our own U.S. Department of Commerce do? It gives the Republic of Korea a free pass to keep dumping its products on us. Korea doesn't even have a domestic market for oil country tubular goods and other steel products that it produces. So what are they going to do with them but dump them on us? Imports of Korean CTG increased by 45% from 2011 to 2013. It was worth over $800 million. That's $800 million out of the pockets of Americans, and we shouldn't allow that to happen. It's essential that our U.S. government stand up for American workers and enforce fair trade practices. Keep the playing field level, and Minnesota Taconite will not only compete, it will win. Why? Because we have the best workforce in the world. We have you. We have all of you. And Iron Range productivity and ingenuity will win every time, if you're just given a fair chance to do so. Now, our state government doesn't set international trade policies, which is too bad. Things would be a lot better if we did. What we can do is to use American steel made with Minnesota Taconite to build a better Minnesota. To build new highways, roads, and bridges. To build new stadiums, apartment buildings, and office towers. To invest in Minnesota's future and in Minnesota's people. That is what we've been doing for the past 3 years. That is what we must continue to do. Now, some people are against our investing in infrastructure. Some people say it doesn't matter if they take $60 million from the IRRB's Doug Johnson Fund or $25 million from the Minerals Fund so that they don't have to raise taxes on the rich. Well, they're wrong. State bonding creates jobs. IRRB investments create jobs. Government's job is to create jobs, along with the private sector. And government's job is to stand with the people of the Iron Range, to stand with all of you. You're fortunate you got some great Iron Range legislators who are here today with you, who stood with you all the time, led by Senate Majority Leader Tom Bach, stood with me when they were trying to, a couple of years ago, the majorities were trying to raid $60 million from the Doug Johnson Fund, and we said, no way, not going to happen. And it didn't. They've supported the bonding bills. They've supported the jobs that they will create. They fought to increase those funds. They fought to increase the projects that are going to put people to work. They fought to see the Minnesota taconite, American steel, were used in those projects so that you would benefit. Your jobs would be created, more jobs would be created, and we'd have a higher standard of living here in the Iron Range and across Minnesota and across America. I think we should send your entire Iron Range delegation to Washington and things would get a lot better over there. Well, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being here today. And thank you for a chance for me to show you that I stand with you. Thank you very much. I tell you what, we'd be shipping a lot more steel out instead of jobs if Governor Dayton was making the policy in Washington, D.C. Thank you. Before I bring the next representatives up, I wanted to read a little bit of the letter that Senator Franken sent, and I want to acknowledge that his very great staff, Pete Mikowski, is representing Senator Franken here today. Let's give Pete a big round of applause for coming over. And Senator Franken's letter reads in part, members of the United Steelworkers and concerned residents of the Iron Range, I want you to know that I stand with you in the fight against imported steel that is dumped into our country and hurts the hardworking men and women in our iron and steel industries. Those industries can compete against any in the world on a level playing field. This imported steel endangers people right here in Minnesota, particularly those who work in the Iron Range taconite industry. Their good-paying jobs are in peril. That's why I was proud to join a bipartisan group of colleagues in the Senate in combating the dumping of pipe and tube products from South Korea and in keeping the Obama administration's feet to the fire on this issue. I look forward to continuing the fight with you, and thank you for what you are doing to protect domestic industry and Minnesota jobs. Thank you, Senator Franken. Okay, we have some great state representatives to bring up to the stage. I do want to echo something that the state senator said, that Carly Moline was scheduled to be here today, but she has 7 pounds of baby boy joy next to her right now. And I know that she's with us here in spirit. But we are delighted to have with us a trio of state representatives. Please give a warm welcome to State Representatives Tom Ansel, Jason Metza, and Sax Hogg.
Hey, give it up! Hey! Right here by me. Do we have a great governor who loves the Iron Range or what? Come on! Do we have 2 great United States senators in Franken and Klobuchar or what? And our Congressman Rick Nolan, give it to him! On behalf of all 8 of us who are so privileged to represent the people of the Iron Range in the Minnesota legislature, we're proud to be here today. We're proud to stand with you in solidarity. And this is our turn, like our fathers and grandpas and grandmas and mothers. They fought this fight before, and now we gotta fight it today. And so, going forward, remember each other. Remember, we are all Rangers. And the last thing you want to do is threaten a Ranger's job and living. Give them hell!
I
just wanted to point out first off, we had Representative Radinovich join us all the way from the Crosby Range. Good morning, America. Welcome to the Iron Range. How's everyone doing? Come on, Rangers, I can't hear you. Let's go. How's everyone doing? My name is Jason Metza, and I'm proud to represent the most mining-centric district in the United States. Our history's rich. Our people run deep. We work hard. Today we're here to send a message to Washington, and I hope they're listening. We want them to work hard too. If the bureaucrats out there can shut down mines in Alaska, they can sure save our jobs here in Minnesota. The people of the Iron Range expect the Commerce Department to take swift, decisive action to save our steelworker jobs, both here on the range and across this great nation. This is about protecting working families and ensuring that another generation of Rangers can produce the pellets that keeps all of our communities thriving. Without the range, there is no northeastern Minnesota economy. All of us here today depend on the steel that comes from the taconite in these red hills, and there's power in the air and I can feel it. Can you feel it? There's power in gathering together like we are, but it doesn't stop when the rally's over. You need to call President Obama's office. Call Klobuchar's office, call Franken's office, and call our friend Congressman Nolan's office, and let Washington know we expect that they don't stick, or that they stick it to the Rockefellers and not the little fellers.
Good morning. I'm Saxog. First name's Tom. I want to send a message of congratulations to Representative Moline. My name's Tom. Tom Bach's name is Tom. Tom Anzel's name is Tom. And then we have Tom Zoni. What do you think? What do you think? About 80 years ago, John C. Greenway referred to the opening of the Western Mesaba Iron Range. I think we're talking about the reopening of the Western Mesaba right now. 1 billion tons of iron ore over there. That's jobs, that's more iron workers. That's what we're looking for. But that will not happen if we don't stop the dumping. Help us out. Thank you.
Stop the dumping. We got a chant here. Got to do something. Stop that dumping. Got to do something. Stop that dumping. Get your signs up in the air. Let's do it again. Got to do something. Stop that dumping. One more time. Got to do something. Stop that dumping. Thank you. All right. We have, and I wanted to point out that Senator Franken and Senator Klobuchar were among 57 senators who signed a letter to the Commerce Department that said, stop that dumping. And y'all look at Washington, D.C. today, and you know that they can't agree that the Minnesota sky is blue right now. So to get 57 senators, about 41 Democrats or so, and about 15 Republicans and an independent on a letter speaks volumes about the power of this issue, that this is not just a blue issue or a red issue or a union issue or a business issue. It's a red, white, and blue issue, and we expect Washington to respond. All right. One more time, we're going to do a cell phone check because I am told we now have 2,000 people here. We had a couple more buses pulled up, so that's probably a small crowd for a hockey game, but it's a hell of a big crowd for a rally, I'll tell you that. All right, so get your cell phones out and text to 91990. 91990. One more time, 91990. Text the message STEEL. And if you've done it already, tell your friends to do it. Again, the number is 91990. The message is STEEL, and it'll help you send a message directly to Washington, D.C., to the Commerce Department to say, look out for our jobs. And so raise your signs high if you've done that for us. Raise your signs high. Thank you. Thank you all. You're all going to make a difference. Your voices are going to be heard. So, this is obviously, you know the steel jobs that are at stake. You know the jobs in the mines that are at stakes here. But this is also about Main Street, and this is about suppliers, because one out of, for every steel job that's out there, it probably supports 6 or 7 other jobs in the community, because of the supply chain and all that money in your pockets that gets spent at places like the grocery store, the flower shop, and every once in a while at the tavern, right? So, and if that goes away, you see those Main Streets shrivel up, which is why it's so important to keep these good jobs here, because they just don't come back as something better. You all know that. They don't come back as something better, which is why we got to keep them here. And to talk a bit about that and the importance of this case to his industry and to the importance of the mining industry to his industry, please welcome to the stage Bruce Mars, who is with WP&RS Mars Company, who's an industrial supplier to the mines up here. Please give Bruce a warm Iron Range welcome.
All right, good morning. My name is Bruce Mars, and I work for the WP&RS Mars Company and Conveyor Belt Service. The Mars Company is an industrial supply company with branches in Hibbing, Duluth, Bloomington, and Waterloo, Iowa. Conveyor Belt Service is located right here in Virginia, Minnesota, and is only 3 miles from Mintac and 30 miles from Keetac. The Mars Company was founded in 1924 by my great-grandfather and grandfather, and CBS was established in 1953 by my dad and his brother. Between Mars and CBS, we employ over 55 men and women in northern Minnesota. My 2 older brothers and I represent the 4th generation in our family business. My brother's daughter has recently joined our company, and she's ushering in the 5th generation. The iron ore mining industry has been a big part of our family business for many decades. We were here during the red ore days, and we were here when the taconite plants were built. U.S. Steel, Cleveland Cliffs, ArcelorMittal have been our business partners for many years. And now we are lucky enough to work with Magnetation, Mesabi Nugget, and Mining Resources as well. Like many other suppliers and contractors in northern Minnesota, the iron ore mining industry is a very important customer and business partner. Consequently, the well-being of the local suppliers and contractors really depends on the iron ore industry to be healthy. We need United States Steel and the other mining companies to be competitive in their markets and to stay strong and in operation. Otherwise, a lot of us will really struggle, and the possibility of layoffs and closures becomes very real. For me, it hits home as I have a wife and 2 great kids to support. I do not want to be the generation in my family business that takes things in the wrong direction. We have a great team of hardworking people at Mars and Conveyor Belt Service. As a business owner, the last thing I want to do is be faced with laying off people. The Mars Company and Conveyor Belt Service need the iron ore industry to succeed. We fully understand that today's world is a global one, but we also believe that the playing field should be fair. My hope is that the iron ore mining industry can stay strong for years to come, and that the local suppliers and contractors can keep their doors open and the jobs coming. Thanks for attending this rally and listening, and thanks to everyone who works hard to make the iron ore mining industry successful. Let's do all we can to keep it alive and healthy. Make it a great day. Thanks.
Thank you, Bruce. I know I don't look like Congressman Nolan, and I don't represent you certainly as well as Congressman Nolan does, but he, like Senator Klobuchar, Senator Franken, have votes in Washington, D.C., and Congressman Nolan joined 156 of his colleagues in signing a letter, almost evenly divided between Democrats and Republicans, to the Commerce Department saying stop that dumping. But I do have a message from Congressman Nolan that I wanted to read right now. And I'm going to try to do it with passion, as like Congressman Nolan would. Otherwise, I'm going to get in trouble, because I know he's watching. To all my fellow Rangers rallying here for mining, for good mining jobs, and for our way of life up here in God's country, I bring you greetings from your nation's capital. I can't be with you in person today because Congress is in session, but you know I'm with you in spirit, and by the miracle of technology, I'll be with you this afternoon live on The Ed Show on MSNBC, where I'll be telling the rest of our nation what we up here know already. We can't rebuild America's economy and infrastructure with foreign steel. We shouldn't be buying it. We shouldn't be using it. Instead, we need to change our tax and trade policies to encourage and require that American iron and steel, mined and produced by American workers just like you, be used to build and rebuild America here in the 21st century. Nothing else is good enough. Nothing else will do. That's why I've introduced my bipartisan American Pipeline Jobs and Safety Act of 2014, which would require that virtually all pipelines built and federally permitted in the U.S. contain 100% American iron ore and steel processed or reprocessed right here in America. Yeah. All right. I was so honored just a few weeks ago to have many of you with me at District 11 headquarters in Eveleth when I announced this bill, which marks two big firsts for the iron ore industry. This bill marks for the first time American iron ore and taconite workers and mines are included in federal Buy America steel provisions, and the first time private transactions, in this case privately funded pipeline projects, are made subject to American preference laws. Why? Because it's high time we stop allowing nations like China, Russia, Korea, and India to flood our markets, take our jobs, undercut our prices, and stall our economy by illegally dumping their cheap, subsidized, poor quality steel and steel pipeline into our American market. All right. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand why America's steel industry is operating at just 75% of its capacity. Foreign imports of steel pipeline more than doubled from 2010. That's an additional $2 billion worth of foreign steel pipeline dumped into our market. Make no mistake, if this trend continues, the experts tell us we're going to lose 12 domestic steel mills and 50,000 good middle-class jobs across our nation. Last year alone, Korea dumped 800,000 metric tons of steel pipeline into the U.S. market. That's got to stop. And just a few days ago, our Congressional Steel Caucus, 150 Democrats and Republicans, told the Secretary of Commerce this Korean steel dumping must end now. Last year alone, China dumped 250,000 metric tons of steel pipeline into our market. That must end now. Not only is foreign steel and foreign pipeline flooding our markets, stalling our economy, and taking our jobs, it's unsafe. Unsafe for our workers, unsafe for our environment, and unsafe for our communities. The first phases of the Trans-Canada Pipeline are being built with steel from India. And that project has been marked by spill after spill and accident after accident. I spent several years in the Middle East doing business in oil country. This is Congressman Nolan, not me, where it was common knowledge that the best and safest steel pipeline in the world is 100% American made. So my commitment to you is this. I will continue to leave no stone unturned. I will continue to do everything in my power to change our tax and trade policies and expand our Make It in America policies to fight and end these outrageous foreign steel imports. I'm doing it for our mining jobs. I'm doing it for our communities and region. And I'm doing it for future generations so they can have the privilege of living and working right here with all the security, prosperity, and opportunity our 21st century mining industry has to offer. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for your support in these efforts. Let's give a thank you to Congressman Nolan. All right. And please tell him I did a good job for him, please. All right. Okay. All right. Another voice from the business community is going to say why these jobs are so important. Please give a great Iron Range welcome to Minnesota Power's representative, Mike Perala.
Morning, everyone. My name is Mike Perala. I live in Virginia, and I work for Minnesota Power. I lead a team whose sole function is to support the efforts of our mining customers. Mining is very important to Minnesota Power. Although we serve nearly 145,000 customers in a service area exceeding 26,000 square miles, Nearly half of our annual electric sales are directly tied to the domestic steel industry. We provide electric service to the 6 operating taconite mines on the range, as well as Mesabi Nugget, Mining Resources, and Magnetation. We also supply service to Nashwauk, who in turn will serve the new SR taconite plant. Minnesota Power feels a very strong sense of co-destiny with our mining company partners. Truly, Minnesota Power's success is tied to the industries of northeastern Minnesota and of the Iron Range. We're deeply concerned about continued attacks to our way of life in northeastern Minnesota. We all live here, we work here, we are committed to the success of this region. We deeply believe in achieving the right results the right way, and we can't stand for these attacks to our livelihood. Our products, our workers, and our entire region are dedicated to the production of quality, globally competitive goods and services. Minnesota taconite has long been the basis of a successful and thriving domestic steel industry, one that built this country and that has the highest efficiencies and productivities in the world, one that helps us all to have a high standard of living. Minnesota Power will always stand up alongside our mining partners and our steel partners to demand an even playing field in our markets. And we ask our government to enforce rules supporting an international system of commerce that's fair to all players. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Now let's talk a bit about the future. Let's talk a bit about the future, because I've heard a lot of speakers talk about the rich history of the workers and the mines in this region, and wanted to talk a bit about what's at stake here in the future. And to do that, I am really proud to welcome to the stage a third-generation steelworker from the Iron Range, from a strong family here. She's also a senior at the University of Minnesota. Go Gophers! Go Gophers! All right, please give a great welcome to Emily Bombich.
Morning, everyone. My name's Emily Bombich. I'm a summer student at Minorca Mine. I'm also a senior at University of Minnesota Duluth, actually the Bulldogs. I'm majoring in communication sciences and disorders and minoring in psychology. And I'm also a proud third-generation steelworker. Both of my grandpas worked over 40 plus years, one at U.S. Steel and the other at LTB. My dad currently works at Minorca Mine, where he's been employed for over 36 years. Together, these 3 men have put in over 120 years into the mining industry. I've always known I wanted to live up here and stay up here in this beautiful area called the Iron Range. And after having the great opportunity to work in the industry, I'd love to work in the industry of mining, make it my career. However, with this illegal dumping of steel and starting to take hold, it might jeopardize my future plans. I find it unbelievably frustrating that even the United States has laws to protect all of us and prevent all the countries from this cheating on trade. It's still happening. And that's why we're all here today. Throughout my whole life, I've always been taught that cheating is wrong, and I'm sure all of you have been too. So I ask you, are we going to let this cheating ruin the way of our life? No! Are we going to let this cheating ruin my generation's plan to work up here? No! So all we're asking for is fair trade and to compete with the rest of the world. This can be fixed by simply enforcing our trade laws. If we all stand united, we can send this message. Thank you.
We were getting ready to close things out, but we got a little work to do yet. All right? We got a little work to do. One more time. Get those phones out. Text 91990. 91990. One more time. That is 91990. And text, what message were we texting? Steel. That's right, Steel to 91990. And we're going to light up those phone lines in Washington, D.C. And we're going to make sure that your voices are heard. I want to tell you something. I want to ask you a question. But first, let me give you the scenario. So, your scenario number 1. You mine the ore in Australia. you ship it to China, it's hot rolled there, it's shipped to Korea, it's turned into pipe and tube, it's put on a ship, it crosses the Pacific Ocean, goes through the Panama Canal, comes up through Houston, and ends up in Texas, Louisiana, or way up in Ohio and Pennsylvania. Now tell me, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? All right, I'm going to tell you the other scenario here. You mine it right here, just a couple miles away. You ship it on a barge down the Great Lakes when they're not frozen over. It gets to Lorain, or it finds its way to Granite City. It's hot rolled. It's turned into pipe and steel. It's supporting jobs right here, who spend those paychecks in the communities, who pay taxes right here, and who are building out America's energy infrastructure. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I tell you what, a lot of people said we got entangled in the Middle East because we were dependent on their oil, so everybody's real excited about America's energy independence, making that natural gas and making that oil right in Ohio and Pennsylvania and in Louisiana and Texas and over in North Dakota. That was the promise of America's energy independence, but I tell you what, I don't think the plan was to bring the steel from China or Korea, and we're not going to sacrifice any mining jobs, any steel jobs to see that pipe and tube come in here. Are we going to stand up and fight back? Are we going to stand up and fight back? All right. We got some guys who are on a fishing trip, who joined us today, and I want to bring them up to the stage. We got Dennis Barker and Dennis Warren. They worked for years at U.S. Steel in Granite City. Now, they're part of the SOAR chapter, and they joined us down there for a rally. And they took some time out of their fishing today to join us and complete that supply chain to you. Because it's about the jobs here, it's about the jobs in Granite City, it's about the jobs all over America. All right. Raise your sign if you have texted today. Raise your sign. Thank you, Iron Range. All right, we're going to do one more chant, but first, this is our last rally. And I want to thank some folks. I want to thank U.S. Steel for being willing to work with the steelworkers to put these rallies together. This is the 6th rally we've done. They've gotten better every time. We had 1,000 people in Birmingham, Alabama. We had a bunch of people all over the country, but we've had nothing like this here on the Iron Range. You do us proud. 2,000 of you here today. So, thanks to U.S. Steel, and I tell you what, thanks to the United Steelworkers. Thanks to the United Steelworkers for standing up and fighting back. Thanks to the United Steelworkers. And I also want to thank my great team at the Alliance for American Manufacturing that's made possible by the steelworkers and U.S. Steel. They've done a great job of going around the country, putting these things together behind the scenes, and they've done a fantastic job of getting the word out here. Thanks for Ed Schultz. Thanks to Ed Schultz for coming today and getting the message of working people out on our national TV and making sure that happens. But most of all, thanks to you. Thanks to you for coming out, because your voices are the ones that are going to make the difference. You can do something that those Korean companies, those Chinese companies can't do. You have a voice in Washington, D.C., and you are making it heard. Who's making it heard here today? Who's making it heard here today? All right. We got one more song to go out on. We're going to do one more chant. One more chant. You got to be with me here. All right, let's cue up the music. All right. I say gotta do something. Crank it up a little more. Gotta do something, stop that dump. Here we go. Gotta do something, stop that dumping. 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 Louder, gotta do something, stop that dumping. You gotta do something, stop that dumping. Gotta do something, stop that dumping. Gotta do something, stop that dumping. Thank you, Iron Range, thank you.